In the heart of Africa's untamed wilderness, stories of terror and dominance are written in blood. Yet, among all the lion coalitions that ruled the savannas, one group's name echoed louder than thunder, a pride whose very presence meant death and destruction. This is the legend of the Moho Coalition, the most ruthless alliance ever to stalk the African plains. The Moho lions were not born into power. They carved their dominance through violence, bloodshed, and endless battles. Their story begins in the dense lands of Botswana, where a small group of young male lions was forced into exile. Expelled from their pride, they faced starvation, hyenas, and rival coalitions. Yet, from this suffering emerged a bond forged in fire and fury. 5 lions, led by a monstrous male named Cairo, known for his enormous mane and terrifying roar, joined forces. Each had lost something: brothers, territory, or pride. Together, they found purpose, not survival, but conquest. They became the Moho Coalition, named after the region they would soon rule through slaughter. Their first act was rebellion. They attacked an established pride led by 2 old males and a dozen lionesses. The battle lasted 3 days. By the end, the ground was painted red. The Moho lions killed both leaders and every cub they found. The lionesses had no choice but to submit, and with that, the Moho Coalition took control of its first territory. For the next 3 years, they expanded relentlessly. They raided neighboring lands, killing every rival male and cub in their path. No coalition, no matter how large, could stand against them. Their strategy was pure terror: ambush at night, roar during the dawn, and hunt with military precision. Villagers living near the reserve often claimed they could recognize the Moho roar in the distance, a thunderous, bone-chilling sound that made even elephants scatter. The Moho lions' reign turned them into living legends. Researchers described them as ghosts of the savannah. Rarely seen, but always felt. They patrolled an area larger than 500 square kilometers, marking their dominance across rivers, marshes, and grasslands. Even hyenas, the scavengers of Africa, abandoned carcasses when they sensed the Moho scent. But with great power came greater enemies. Rival coalitions began forming, alliances of young males uniting with one purpose: to end the Moho rule. The first challenge came from the east: 3 brothers known as the Njoro males. Their confrontation with the Moho Coalition became one of the bloodiest lion wars ever witnessed. The roars echoed for miles, and the aftermath was horrific. The Njoro brothers were torn apart, one after another. The last survivor was chased for more than 2 days before being brought down and killed. However, the war took its toll. One of the Moho lions, a fierce male named Temba, was fatally wounded during the conflict. His body was never found, only traces of blood and claw marks near a riverbank. His loss ignited something darker in the remaining 4. Their attacks became even more brutal. They began killing for dominance, not for survival. Soon, even humans began to fear their proximity. Farmers near Botswana's reserves claimed the Moho lions were responsible for killing dozens of cattle in a single night. Government rangers tried to track them, but found only remains, bones, carcasses, and the trail of their destruction. In 2016, the Moho Coalition reached its peak. They controlled 3 major prides and ruled over nearly 60 lionesses. Their cubs dominated the delta, spreading their lineage far and wide. Cairo, their leader, became a legend in his own right, a lion so massive that guides called him the mountain with eyes. His mane turned almost black with age, a sign of power feared by all lions. But time is undefeated. Age began to weaken Cairo, and the younger males sensed it. A growing tension rose within the coalition. The youngest lion, Muto, who had once been loyal, challenged Cairo for dominance. The battle was short, but savage. Cairo's experience saved him, but at a cost. He was gravely injured and could no longer hunt. For the first time, the Moho Coalition began to fracture. As Cairo withdrew into isolation, the remaining lions split the territories. Each ruled a section, But the unity that made them invincible was gone. The coalition that once terrified Africa began to crumble from within. Without their alpha's guidance, their dominance faded, and rival coalitions moved in. By 2018, only 2 Moho lions remained alive. Cairo was last seen limping along a riverbank, thin and weak. Days later, vultures circled above. Rangers found his body, scarred, massive, and surrounded by the marks of a final fight. Even in death, he had fought like a king. The Moho Coalition vanished as violently as it had appeared. But their legend still lingers, in the roars that echo across Botswana's plains, in the scars left on trees and bones, and in the stories of guides who swear that on some nights, when the wind blows through the savannah, you can still hear the Moho lions roaring together.